Thank you for joining me. This is the Spiritual Princess, and we are on part 2 of my video where my guides are answering some of life's toughest questions. So if you're ready for part 2, it begins now. Next question. I'm not sure if this is dumb question, but do our personalities relate to our purpose in life? Everyone has good sides and flaws, but does it fit our life purpose? My guides say, you have developed your personality over many lifetimes, and you learn from each as you continue to go into new lifetimes. Sometimes the personality fits perfectly with what the person wants to do in their life. In contrast, other times the person will struggle to work like a tedious job when they have a passion for something else, and their personality is suited for more than what they are currently doing. That's when the person needs to take time to figure out what they might want to accomplish in their life and make it happen so they can be happy and live a fulfilled existence. Otherwise, you will be miserable. Life will be stressful and upsetting. That alone can cause a person unnecessary illnesses because they're so unhappy, and they won't have the will to want to live life anymore. Next question. Do children and animals automatically have the ability to see spirits? My guide said young children are open to seeing the spirit world because they have not been programmed to a different kind of thinking. So children are still innocent and can easily see, hear, and interact with these beings, unlike a young adult who was taught that seeing spirits was negative or crazy or scary or whatever. Some religions teach that it's evil to believe or interact with the dead, which is untrue, but it is what they have been taught, so they believe it. Animals do not always see a spirit, but animals will see or hear if the spirit is doing something to make its presence known. Cats are definitely more sensitive to spirits, but cats and dogs can easily read people's energy, so they shower you with love and attention, or they want to steer clear. If an animal is uncomfortable with someone, pay close attention, and the same with children. They are incredibly good at discerning a person's energy or the energy of a location. So do not discount their feelings as incorrect, because they often have a reason for feeling the way they do about someone or something, and parents must pay attention to that. Next question. How did the ruins such as the pyramids get made? Did the Egyptian people have the knowledge to build them, or did some higher power build them? My guide says thousands of years ago there were beings who came to Earth with certain knowledge to help humanity construct some fascinating structures without using technology today. Unfortunately, they took this knowledge to the grave, and it was not written in manuals or passed down to future generations, so the information is lost. There is no longer demand for the same types of structures today, so there's no need for the information to be given again. Newer, larger structures have been built in our time, so the old structures still standing are just part of man's history and should be respected. Next question. I would like to know about other dimensions and the paranormal. Are UFOs real? Why do people see Bigfoot and other strange cryptids? My guide says there are things yet to be discovered by humanity. Man has only touched the surface and has yet to uncover many things, but they will when the time is right. UFOs exist, and there is life on other planets that are not that far from Earth. Earth is visited daily, and some people see them and others don't notice. Furthermore, it depends on how open you are to the experience and your belief about life on other planets. There are creatures whose existence has been suggested but not recognized by science. And I think what they meant by that was maybe like Bigfoot. And my son and I had a UFO experience, and I do have another video on that if you're ever interested in hearing my story. But I can tell you My guide said UFOs come to Earth mainly to watch humans and see what we're doing. To them, we're childlike, and they feel like they are like our predecessors and they have to watch over us because we're going to destroy one another in devastating ways. And so I think, the UFOs take special interest in Earth because it's a living organism that provides life to the living, but a lot of people treat it with so much disrespect and do things to kill it, which is going to end up destroying human life if we don't change our ways. And this is from my guides, not from me personally. They also said as new souls are born, they will have a much deeper respect and care for the Earth as a living planet, and newer generations will want to protect it. Some species from other planets come to Earth for medical experiments on people and animals, and those are not the same species that care what humans are up to. Those groups are trying to reproduce humans in their living form, but they find it problematic because what they create doesn't have the same consciousness, and that's what they want to duplicate, but they can't. They are creating robots that look like humans, but these robots have no feelings or emotions. So that breed comes from other planets mixed with human DNA. Some live on Earth, but they usually keep to themselves and have a heightened sense that they do not belong. They are sent to Earth as an experiment from another world. Sometimes they are forgotten and left to live out their lives. Most of them have reproduced with other humans, so now there's an alien bloodline discussion, and others have written books on that subject. It has been going on for a very long time. My guide said the leaders on Earth fear these species and see them as a risk to humanity and a threat to our planet, so they assign special agencies to research them and write reports about their findings. Everything is kept secret out of fear. The government has been able to duplicate some UFO technology, but not all of it can be reproduced on this planet, so their hands are tied, but they keep trying. Most leaders agree that UFO phenomenon should be kept from the public because they feel it would frighten too many, and they don't want to be responsible for mass fear or paranoia if they admit what they have discovered about other life forms. Many UFO species are here to help humanity and watch over you, but others are more aggressive and have a more negative approach and do things to intimidate people. Like many of the abduction stories, they generally do not have pleasant details. But overall, UFOs are nothing to fear, and they think they can influence somebody positively, and that will help be beneficial to the planet. Then they will make their presence known to that person. These species can work the same way as a spirit can, by impressing visions, thoughts, and feelings so that the person will do something good with the information. And many notable actors, athletes, writers, and musicians have vocalized their UFO encounters, which is no coincidence. My next question is, can meditation be a gateway to extraterrestrial communication? My guide says these beings are reaching out to more enlightened people because they can communicate through their minds the same way a medium can communicate with spirits. They need human cooperation to help the planet. Not to say there aren't alien beings with more sinister plans for humankind, but the ones trying to help are here more often to protect the planet and the human race. And this goes along with my earlier question, but somebody asked, why does the government try to keep ETs a secret? My guide said the government has known about these beings for a very long time. They don't want to be responsible for people becoming paranoid, going into hiding, or some other unnecessary behavior. If the government reveals everything they knew, it would scare way too many people, and they know it. Another question was, how long have ETs been coming to Earth? Alien beings from other planets, this is what my guide said, alien beings from other planets have been on Earth long before most people's ancestors. And many of these beings are the ancestors since they mated with humans in the distant past. Many people are related to these beings and would have no idea. Aliens inhabited Earth right after the dinosaurs became extinct. Many lived on Earth, so humans invaded their planet, not the other way around. Next question, will humans learn to live with extraterrestrials? My guide said yes, there will be alien beings that humans will learn to live with again in the future. It will happen many centuries from now. It won't happen until humanity becomes more enlightened and peaceful. Right now, they are uncomfortable with humans because they know people's thoughts, and many are dark or want violence against them, so they know humans aren't truly ready to live in peace with them. Another question is, when we die and become a spirit, do we develop certain otherworldly gifts? For instance, do we time travel or relive our lives as the same entity elsewhere? My guide says, as a spirit, everything is different on the other side than on Earth. You can experience the past, but you don't travel there, as it's more of something you create in your mind that you want to experience. So, like if I died and I want to experience the Wild West, I could just create that in my mind and have that experience. But I'm not going to time travel, if that makes sense. Another question, do we keep our same personalities after death? My guide says the personality can change, but who you are is who you'll be in spirit. The personality adjusts to its circumstances, so it can always change. Next question, I recently had a friend pass, and while I was shopping, I swore that I saw him in the store moving very quickly. And then I heard, we'll be together again someday. I thought it was strange, almost like I was talking to myself. My guide says if someone is struggling after losing a loved one, sometimes the spirits will show themselves to the person in an odd place. That does not usually happen immediately, but it can if the spirit wants to help or say goodbye. It will only be for a split second, but the person is left with a sense of peace knowing their loved one is still around. And that can be very helpful to the person struggling from the loss. If they take that visit as a true gift, they will be open to many more supernatural experiences in the future. Another question was, I heard someone on TV say that when people grieve the loss of a loved one, it makes us vulnerable to being attacked by negative spirits because it opens a doorway. Is this true? My guide says no, it doesn't open any doors to be spiritually assaulted, but it does leave a person vulnerable to spirit communication. A person's level of sadness calls in their passed on loved ones and guides for support. Sometimes the loved ones will pay them a visit to show them they're doing well and not to be sad. If the person grieving is highly negative, that can attract negative spirits, but they would not necessarily be attacked because they were upset or grieving. If you notice, people who grieve are feeling close to God or praying more than normal during those times of distress, that is helping them connect to the other side without them realizing that. If they constantly think about the loss of the person, they call their energy to them without knowing it. Those going through difficult times of loss should pray for extra protection from the angels to ensure they are protected during their most vulnerable times. That will keep the negative away for sure. Okay. Next question, does a dog, cat, horse, or other animal have a soul the same as a human soul? Do our pets visit us after they die? My guide says no, animals and human souls are not the same. Animals are not here to learn like a human is. They are here as a gift to humanity and to help the world and nature. They understand they have short lives on Earth compared to humans. They come, do their part, and leave. Pets come and help you, comfort you, love you, and leave. They are more attached to their humans, different than a wild tiger or bear might be. Pets will generally wait for their owners in death to be reunited with them on the other side simultaneously. But since they are spirits, they do have the choice to leave or stay behind and wait. Most of them wait and are constantly with the owner because they have no sense of time, so they do not have to wait a long time. However, if a pet is abused or harmed by people, that animal and spirit will find others who love animals, and they will stay with them for comfort and go with them to the other side. There are spirit people who make it their job to collect many animals' souls on earth and help them find peace on the other side. Otherwise, they will roam the earth in spirit for eternity. That's why humans and animal souls cannot reincarnate as each other. You cannot be a dog will never be a human. Animals are true gifts to this planet and should always be respected and treated with kindness. People who harm animals for recreation are not enlightened souls, because if they were, they would see how wrong it is to hurt animals in that way. We are not speaking about people who hurt animals for food. That is entirely different from someone who intends to abuse or kill animals for sport or to have a trophy. Hunters have good intentions and use the meat as a food source. So hunting helps nature the way it's intended. But slaughtering an animal for sport is never okay and should not be done. Many serial killers start harming animals early on, which is a severe sign for people to take notice and get the child some professional help as soon as possible. Otherwise, they will grow up and move from harming animals to killing people. That mental illness needs to be addressed immediately before innocent people are hurt. The next question is, when babies pass away, do they grow up with the family as the other children grow? I am curious because my brother was born and died before my siblings and I were born, but my mother kept him alive in our hearts like he was growing up. I always felt like he was growing up with us. Can that happen? My guide said children who pass before their time have a chance to grow up on the other side, just like children do on earth. The spirit chooses to fulfill that because they won't reincarnate until reunited with the same soul group. And since they were supposed to be part of their lives, they can take the time to grow up like they would have on earth. They still see their family as they would if they were still living. Therefore, when you get a visitation from a child lost early on, they will show themselves to be the same age they would have been if they were alive. Children come through in readings at the age they would have been and continue watching over the other siblings. They feel part of the family because they are and know they transitioned earlier than everybody else. Families will reunite as time does not matter as each soul advances to the other side. Once the entire soul group is there, they decide on another life or split up and do their work to help humanity. Next question. I am the mother of a newborn that only lived for half an hour after being born. I want to know who comes for them and where they go. Do they go to heaven or are they in purgatory? My guide said, in the case of a newborn baby passing, their spirit may have decided not to live and they will cross over easily. Usually it is their spirit guide that will assist them. If the newborn child dies of an unexpected illness or medical problem, they are typically met with a relative or a guide who will assist them. Sometimes, if the spirit does not decide to leave early on, they will try and come back in the same soul group, having the same parents. Medical problems are out of anybody's control, and it is common for the child spirit to return if they want to, but it is always their choice. If that spirit decides to stay on the other side, a new spirit will take its place. Please understand that purgatory is a fabricated concept that does not fit with how things are done on the other side. No person is sent to some holding place. All spirits decide where to go based on their level of enlightenment. There are different dimensions where a spirit can learn and grow, but it is not in a bad place. It's just a different level of awareness. And the more the spirit learns, the higher they will transgress. And the next question is going to be pretty controversial. The next question is, what happens to the soul when people have abortions? My guide said, when the living becomes pregnant and they decide not to keep the child, the soul never truly comes down, as we know that what will be the outcome before the living person decides. It would be a waste of time for the soul to come down only to return like that. Children are gifts, and if someone is meant to have a child in their lifetime, there is a reason for the pregnancy. Generally, the child is intended to help this person during their life. The person would learn so much from being a parent, which is a wonderful experience. We as souls choose what we allow in our lives, and if the living does not want that experience or is not ready for it, then they have the right to choose, and the soul won't come down at that time. Again, this is from my guides, not from me personally. Next question. People born with disabilities or acquired a disability, did they plan that in their life lesson? My guide says yes. Usually they plan that before they are born. It is a lesson they choose to learn while living. Spirit guides discourage it as much as possible because the lesson is so tough. But some souls want to experience that, and we let them. Typically, if the soul is strong, they will turn their disability into a positive life experience, but not always. Their lesson is used as a tool for teaching everyone around them. That can be very good, but it's not something we encourage on the other side. And the last question is, how does law of attraction or manifesting your heart's desire truly work? My guide says manifesting is all energy and intention. It has to be felt and believed by the individual that what they dream and think about will happen for them. If there's doubt, manifesting takes longer to surface because the person's energy is fighting itself. You cannot feel good one day, feel positive about your dreams, and then sense it's not attainable like the next day. That is fighting yourself for what you deserve or desire in your life. Most people stay negative about what they could have or experience, but if one honestly believes that will be their life and practice staying positive about it, it just happens. And I'm going to give you an affirmation, one I say all the time for manifestation. So here it goes. I deserve what my heart desires. I am energy, therefore I can attract all the good in my life. I have nothing to fear or worry about because everything good is on its way. My guides also have explained that manifesting is hard for many people because it's easier to focus on what we don't have rather than on what we desire and deserve. So anytime you feel your mind going into a negative thought, you have to break it and focus on things getting better. Because if we sit in the negativity, it stops the manifestation from happening. You know, our world is made of energy and synchronicity to align the desire. So we must feel that we are experiencing what we desire. It is all about make-believe like children do. You know, children do not worry. They just think about what it's like to be a princess or a pirate. They don't get caught up in worrying if that's possible or that it cannot happen. They're just in it for the moment, and it's authentic to them. That's what manifesting is. As children grow older, they are reprogrammed by parents, teachers, friends, or whoever that their desire to be a princess or a pirate is unrealistic. And then the negative cycle of self-doubt begins. So I tell adults, you can play make-believe for a life that you may not have, but you want. Many singers will see themselves singing for large crowds. And when it happens, they go on tour and perform for millions of people worldwide. Manifesting is simple but challenging for most of us. That's why many of us struggle with it. We cannot get it to work fast enough, so we get frustrated, we give up, because it did not work as quickly as we hoped. But it's really up to you if it works or doesn't work. And I'm going to leave that with everybody. I'm going to stop there. I hope you enjoyed the questions and answers and you learned something from it. Maybe it opened your mind to something else that you were questioning in your lifetime. So I intend for it to be empowering and educational, and I'm always trying to teach and use my gifts for that reason. If you are interested in psychic development training with me, I will put the link below. I'm on Patreon for a very small fee, and I teach a lot of stuff on there, so if you're interested, that's where you can find it. Otherwise, have a great day or night. Love and light.